Hi guys, I just had to go and pick up my muffin pan, right? Because it's central to the talk I'm going to give today. Right, I've got a little bit of, oh, wait a minute, I've disappeared. Oh, wait on, I'll just, oh, that's no good either. How's that? No. Oh, wait on, I'll get it. Oh, there we are, look at that. As I said, I've got this little talk to deliver. Oh, here comes the walker. Hello, Alex. You come and be in the video. Look, he's waddling his way up here. Anyway, look, I don't feel very good today. I'm not very well. And, yeah, I come up here and say hello to people. Look, there's the walker. And he's got his winter coat on, right? He's got his winter coat on today because it's quite cold on Tambourine Mountain. Now, you sit up there, Walker, because Mum's got a very important talk to deliver. Yeah, right, now, getting back to what I was saying. I don't feel very well because, look, just never masturbate at midnight, right? I've had to take 3 Aspiros today because my back's fucked and bloody, I think my ovaries and my bladder and everything's playing up. But anyway, look, the thing is, you've got to ease yourself into that kind of thing carefully and slowly, see. But look, we won't go there because I realise that's a bit of a touchy subject. But look, now what I want to talk about, see this muffin pan, right? As I said, this is central to my talk today. And a lot of people don't realise, and I have to spell it out because you see, the problem is that a lot of my viewers, well, most of them are highly intelligent, but I have to cater to the lowest common denominator, right? There's no way around that. You have to speak to the lowest common denominator because otherwise what you say is just going to go straight over their heads. Straight over their heads. So, you know, anyway, why don't I just bring this video down a bit so I can sit back on my chair more uncomfortable here, you know. Anyway, let me see how that goes. Oh, is that better? Oh, you can just see my head. Maybe bring it down a bit more, eh? Hang on. Down a bit more. How's that? Oh, yeah, that's better. Anyway, so what I was going to say to you, I've been thinking a lot about what's been happening and what's being said around the world. And look, there's been a lot of people that have come out and said Russia's too big of a country. It's just too big. And there are 200, get that, 200 ethnic groups in Russia. Right? It's a little bit like your muffin pan, right? Imagine you've got 200 of these, right? And they're all encapsulated within one big country. Now, if you think about it just for a minute, there's a lot of minuses there. And the thing is, if you broke Russia up into 200 small states, it'd be a hell of a lot easier, you know, for like a little Chihuahua state like Norway, just to be able to walk over and, you know, take over one of these little states, one of these 200 little states, you know, wouldn't it? And, you know, they could just take all their natural resources and, you know, let's face it, I don't know if you know, but Russia's got massive wealth, like you wouldn't believe. And they hold a lot. Well, they did give it away almost for free, but look, we won't go there, that's beside the point. The thing is now they don't, you see, because the Nord Stream pipeline's been bombed and we've had the war in Ukraine and all this sort of stuff, you see, and they've got no way of getting their hands on it now. So I can see KAJA KALLAS's point, right? She's a smart cookie. Look, she's not just some skinny young chick that looks great in a yellow satin evening gown with one sleeve, right? There's a lot more to that woman than meets the eye, I can tell you. Oh yeah, she's a smart little cookie. I'm not saying she's innovative. I'm not saying like she's an initiator or anything like that. But I think when somebody like Joe Biden says something, she listens, you know. She sits up and takes some notice. And she can repeat that phrase, whatever it is, you know. Russia's got to be broken up into smaller states. She can sprout that, like, you know, no problem at all. She's very good at regurgitating information, which is what you want in a politician, you see. You don't necessarily want anyone innovative, but what you do want is someone who can take office from a leader, a world leader. Like Joe Biden, for instance, anyway. See, so that was what I wanted to tell you about, like, breaking Russia up. Now, the thing is, there is a little bit of a minus there, which I want to talk to you about. Because, look, the story doesn't end there, and the problems just don't miraculously go away when you break Russia up into 200 small states, right? You've still got some little difficulties to iron out, right? And look, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Right now, I mean, the Amish tried this, didn't they? You know, I mean, they're still trying it, right? And, you know, the thing is that when you confine a culture within a small little area like that, you know, a little group here, a little group there, and a little group somewhere else, and they all remain within that little one little hole on the muffin pan, right? When they all remain there, their own little hole on the muffin pan, unfortunately you can run into a few problems, you know, like defective gene pools and that, you know. You know, children being born that they have to be kind of institutionalised for life and that kind of thing. But look, that's a minor consideration, because look, the Amish decided, when they looked at the whole question, they decided that was preferable. That risk was preferable, you see. Remain within their own little clique, with their own little muffin pan hole on the, you know, in the scheme of things. That was preferable, right? And this is what KALLAS has been trying to tell us. She's been trying to explain it to us, you see. Clearly, it's to the advantage of these people. They've got their own little culture. Nobody interferes. Nobody interferes. They rule entirely under themselves. I mean, why would they want to be part of a great big country like Russia? Eh? Why would they want to be under the auspices and control of the state and Vladimir Putin, right? I mean, you know, I suppose if war threatens, you know, they might need him, but is that ever going to happen? I doubt that very bloody much. I find that very difficult to believe. Anyway, look, the thing is, I just also wanted to tell you that the problems just aren't necessarily in there, as I said. Now, look, you take here in Australia, right? Okay. I'll just give you a little bit of my own personal experience here, right? When I was 16, I met this lovely young fellow, you know, and he came into town, and he was obviously different. I mean, you know, he wore black stovepipe pants and very pointy, polished black shoes and that stuff, and he didn't look like the mill workers, you know, around town, right? Sugar mill workers. No, he was different, and I looked at him and I thought, oh, that's the man for me, you know. That looks like the sort of guy I should marry, you know. And well, look, I was jumping the gun a bit there, and I'll tell you why. We'd only been going out for about 6 weeks, I suppose. Anyway, he said to me, Pamela, he said, would you like to come to the swimming pool in Mackay on Saturday morning? Because, you know, he had Saturday morning off. He was a bank clerk, you see, bank worker. I eventually got to be head of the Commonwealth Development Bank for Queensland, but this is going back to when he was a lowly bank, clerk, right, straight out of Nudgee College, right. Anyway, he said, would you like to go for a swim, see? And I thought, oh, crikey, I bet he can swim like a fish because he's from the Gold Coast, But I couldn't swim at all because I'd been actually raised up in Stanthorpe for the first 11 years of my life, freezing cold hole, and they didn't even have a town swimming pool except one with a bloody great big huge sea snake in it, so I wasn't going there, right? Anyway, so I thought he can probably swim like a fish, so what I need to do is take his mind off the fact that I can't swim. And I thought, I know how I do that. So I said to Dad, hey Dad, can you drive me to Mackay so I can get myself a new swimsuit, right? Yeah. Anyway, so Dad takes me in, and I go into the store in Mackay, and of course, it's a country town. Mackay's a city, but it's like a big country town, we're going back to, what was this, 1964? Anyway, so I go in there, and I naturally picked myself a lovely one-piece bathing suit, and it was lovely. It was beautiful colour of lemon, and I looked really nice in it, Anyway, so off we went to the swimming pool on Saturday morning, and when we came home, Mum was very anxious to find out what Fred had thought of the new bathing suit. So she said, oh, did you like Pamela's new bathing suit, Fred? And he said, well, I would have liked it better if it was a bikini. And then I remembered I'd heard this snippet of news. There was a beach inspector going around down there at the Gold Coast with a measuring tape, measuring the bottoms of girls' bikinis and the tops too, and they had to be a certain size, and if they weren't, he ordered them off the beach, see? The bikini was named after Bikini Atoll, big explosion, right? And, the Gold Coast girls got right into it, and they straight away started making and wearing these bikinis, right? I'd had heard a little bit of news about this, but it never really sunk in. I didn't realise the gravity of the situation, and I thought, oh my God, I'm like past something of yesterday's news. One-piece bathing suits, her old hat, it was a dreadful bloody realisation, Anyway, I've got to tell you about one of these girls down the Gold Coast. This beach inspector came up to her and he said, he measured a bikini bottom, and he said, Miss, your bikini bottom is 1/4 of an inch shorter than the regulation. And she said, oh, no worries then, sir. So she just stripped it off and dropped it in the sand. Well, they had to get the paramedics to that bloke. That beach inspector, he collapsed on the spot. But look, these stories were going around, and we had heard about it, but of course you didn't want to join that kind of female, causing beach inspectors to have heart attacks and stuff, But anyway, look, getting back to it, I mulled over it for all of about half a minute, and then I said to Dad, take me to Mackay. So he took me back into Mackay, and I said, listen, have you got any bikinis here? She said, well, they're out the back. We don't like to put them out the front. It offends people. I said, well, that's okay. Bring them out because I want to buy some, Anyway, she brought it out, and I bought 2 beautiful bikinis, right? And they look really nice in them too. So I sort of moved in to, well, into the Gold Coast set, even though I lived in North Queensland. I did scandalise people, but, the thing is that I made my boyfriend happy, and that's all I was concerned about, right? That's all I was interested in. I mean, when you're 16 going on 17, you really just want to please your boyfriend, And even if you scandalise the whole bloody neighbourhood, you really don't care, you see. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about there was you can see the cultural differences. There's a cultural divide. It's like a chasm that you have to leap over, right? The mere fact he was from the cusp of Queensland, New South Wales, off the Queensland border, meant there was a huge cultural difference between him and I, because I was from North Queensland, right? Well, the gateway to the north is sort of like where central Queensland leaves off and you begin the north, you see. So this was the point, you see, that, there's a cultural divide there. And we really didn't speak the same language at all. It made matters worse because he was Roman Catholic, came from Mudgee College. I'd been to a state school. Oh my God. There was no way we could communicate, you know. Right across that cultural divide. Oh, just too far a leap. And look, an even worse thing happened to my parents, see? Because the war broke out, see? The war broke out, and it was 1943. And Dad was engaged to some girl down there in Victoria, and Mum was engaged to some bloke up here in Queensland. But anyway, amid tears and trials and tribulations, they shipped my father off to Queensland, where, unhappily for him, he met my mother. And the thing is that Queenslanders and Victorians, it's like mixing oil and water. You know, you take Mum, for instance, you know, she loved rugby league. She'd always go to all the matches and cheer for the local team, right? And they'd be, you know, great big brawny blokes, you know, getting down the scrum, sniffing each other's butts, you know. That was a real man's game, see? But my father, he was an Aussie rules guy. He used to play Aussie rules. And, you know, they used to prance around like bloody ballet dancers in their little tight shorts and their little singlets, you know, leaping up in the air, you know, catching balls like this, you know. Like pansies, bunch of pansies, you know. And Mum said, oh, it's not football. No, that's not. Real men play rugby league, you know. Well, Dad would sit there, you know, as the years went by and we 6 kids were growing up. Dad would sit there eating his peanuts with his Carlton scarf around his neck, blue and white Carlton scarf, and barracking for the, you know, the Carlton team on TV, and drove a wedge between my parents, you know. Drove a huge wedge. I mean, there was this great cultural chasm. And then not only, but also it's in the language as well, you see. Victorians spoke an entirely different language. Mum couldn't understand a bloody word he said half the time. And Mum used to swear a hell of a lot, you know. And Dad say, Lil, my girl. The neighbours will hear you. So Mum would just yell louder. Well, the neighbours didn't care because they were all Queenslanders too. But you see, Victorians are just like the name says. They're Victorian. They're Victorian. Very, very, very staid and old-fashioned. Queensland is an entirely different mob. As I said, so look, getting back to what KAJA says, I can understand where she's coming from. There's a huge problem with bridging the cultural divide. It's a chasm that's unleapable. And I think it's probably better to go the way the Amish have, right? And just take the risk on board, you know? Just keep within your little clique, your little muffin tin compartments, you know? All your little states, see? All individual and all separate from each other, and nobody marries. This one doesn't marry with that, and that one doesn't marry with this, and no. You don't have any of that because it causes nothing but trouble, as I've tried to explain to you here today. And I hope you've understood my concerns. So I'll talk to you later.